Well, hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. I'm Corny Swiss, and today I'm driving around the M4A1 Sherman, American 3.3 battle rating medium tank. It's the first Sherman you get, and it's a really good tank, I think. So far, my impression of the Americans is that they're all good tanks in their own right. But before we get started with sort of this game, I wanted to say that the answers to the Q&A, the way that's going to be is we're going to do a video, and me or Phil, we're going to read the question in the video. We'll have maybe gameplay under it or something like that, something else. And we'll just answer the question, read the next one, answer the question. I think we're going to come up with like a little list, and then just go down the list, answer everything we can. Hopefully every question gets answered. We're not going to, we won't answer duplicates, so we're going to go through and like vet them to make sure that we aren't answering the same question multiple times. But if I'm not mistaken, we plan to answer every question possible. So it might be a little bit of a longer video because you guys had a lot of questions. But we will hopefully be able to answer all those, and I expect that video to come out either Christmas Day or the day after Christmas. So that's something to look forward to if you want to. And right here I'm checking to make sure I'm trying to see if why my machine gun's not working. And that's all I had to say about the Q&A. So I feel okay moving on to this. There's a bug with the machine guns. I don't know which tanks it's on, but it's certainly on the M4A1. You need to keep one shell of the default AP ammunition on the tank for the machine gun to operate. Okay? So it doesn't matter what you do with that AP shell, as long as it's in your loadout when you spawn in. I think that means you're good and the machine guns will work. If you don't have that, you won't be able to use the machine gun. So in this replay I've stocked completely with the M61 round, and because I don't have any default ammunition, my machine guns aren't working. So when I went to the controls there, I was making sure I had it binded, and I did. So tip there, just keep one shell, the default. You have so much ammunition anyway, it doesn't matter. Just keep one shell and you'll be able to use your machine guns. I usually just let it sit. I mean, 90 rounds is plenty. So there you go, that's just a little bug notification. But what's happening so far, this is an arcade battle on Cuban, domination game mode, and we've taken B very aggressively. And now I'm kind of posting up on this little hill, using gun depression, using some angling to prevent the enemy from pushing over here to take A, which we're actively trying to cap. Another thing to note, I really like the sound effects of the American guns. You can tell that they didn't put like placeholders in or anything. These are pretty good sound effects. I like all of them as far as I can tell. But I'm trying to help out my buddies who are sitting in the cap, trying to get the cap done, but the enemy tanks just keep coming in, which is good and bad because, I mean, they're getting wrecked, so that's good. But I take a decent hit there that gets my gunner. The Sherman is pretty durable from the front, however, I'm not sure which guns it is, but there are guns that do handle it from the front, and I have been knocked out by other Shermans. So further testing is required, and I'll be doing a full review on this tank within the week probably. I mean, the gathering clips for this tank is going really well, and I feel pretty confident about a lot of aspects of the tank. Just maybe the armor still puzzles me a little bit, but I'm working on it, so don't worry about that. What's happening now is I decided to dart across, and holy shit, there's a lot of tanks. I decided to come over here and help out our guys who are trying to cap. The Panzer IICs don't concern me. The T-50 kind of concerns me because, well, he's dead, so I guess it doesn't matter, but he's got a nasty little gun that can take down Shermans fairly easily. Panzer IIC, he's the easiest target for me to shoot, so I'm going to shoot him. But there is this Lee here that could be dealt with, and he's getting the good news, and enemy tanks are just wasting machine gun fire on the front of my tank. The 50 cal machine guns can deal with the side of German tanks at this battle rating. However, the front of a Sherman, no way. Your machine guns are no good here. But the Lee is cooking. And we're gonna give him the coup de grace, nice and steady. And now it's just the poor Panzer IIc, and he takes one right in the face. Ouch. Anyway, if you can't tell, I really enjoy the Sherman. I've been playing basically nothing but American tanks right now. I'm just trying to grind up. I just unlocked the Sherman 105. I'm not convinced on... I know for a while it was... people were saying it was broken, but now it's a little more balanced. I haven't been able to play it yet. I've been focusing on getting clips for the M4A1's review. And then I'll be focusing more on the Sherman 105. And then I think what I'm going to do is after I do these early Shermans, I think I'm going to go back to some tanks that got changed. For example, the King Tiger with the 105 got a 900 horsepower engine. It's a pretty good upgrade in my opinion. I got to see how that plays. There's a AAA bouncing shells off the back of my tank. I'm not all that concerned about him. Something I noticed is that the American AAA doesn't really have penetration like the Russian ones. And something else to note, the American tanks fire extremely well on the move. They're pretty accurate, which is really nice. I mean, German and Russian tanks, it's very difficult to fire them on the move, but these American tanks do it really well. I think that's partly because the Sherman, some variants of the Sherman had vertical stabilizers on them, like crude ones, but it meant that the Sherman could, this is what either Phil's told me or I remember from some distant reading, that because they have this, the Sherman can fire on the move, but it's still not very accurate. However, in terms of War Thunder, it really is. So what's happening now, I make a mistake here, and you'll see why. I'm going to be shooting at that guy, and there's a lead down to my left, and as soon as I took the hit, I knew, oh my god, it was that guy. Because I saw him before when I was going over the bridge, but I didn't think he would still be there, or that he'd still be alive. But he was. So, ripperoni and peps. Now I'm going to pull out the Grant, and we're going to see what we can do with this bad boy. Another tank I'm really enjoying. So far there hasn't been a bust for me on the American tanks. None of the tanks I've played particularly like grinded my gears. The Stuarts were all fun. They can be a little hard to drive, but they were good tanks. They had solid penetration, solid ammunition, quick, good, had some machine guns, just good overall reserve level tanks. You know, the 1.0 to like the 1.7 battle rating. The Marine Corps Premium Stuart, I think, is a really good tank. It's probably the best Stuart in my opinion. It's really, really good. At least I've had a ton of success with it, which flavors my opinion, I'd say. But both the Lee and the Grant treated me really well. I prefer the Grant because I can't say exactly why because I don't have the information in front of me, but it's something to do with the shells. I just prefer the Grant to the Lee. But both are really good tanks, and they're kind of the same, basically the same tank. Just a little modification to the turret on top. And at this point, the game we've taken a very strong control of the game. It's pretty safe to say we're going to win. The enemy's in a very tight spot. We hold two of the zones fairly strongly. And I'm switching between sites there to really give this M13 the good news. Fighting tanks at range with the Lee and Grant with the 75 is not the easiest thing to do, but you might as well, in that situation, just switch to your 75 and keep sending them. Eventually one will hit. The 37 just isn't effective at that range, in my opinion. And now it will get the shots on target more often than not. But here you're going to see kind of what I'm talking about with this tank, just the power of this 75. Normally I wouldn't be able to penetrate the T-28 maybe at this range or effectively with the 37, but the 75 really kind of just digs in there, and now I'm taking hits from all over the place, all these Stuarts. Stuart can be a really, really annoying tank. They can be everywhere, they can hit you with machine guns, they can track you fairly easily. Ooh, I thought I hit that one. But the thing about the Stuart is they're not terribly durable when faced with, you know, a 75mm gun. Which kind of is as it should be, I guess, because, oh my god, that turret flying through the air was cool. There's things like that, like turrets flying through the air, that I really like about War Thunder. Just more pretty effects happen more regularly in War Thunder than they do in any other tank game. Now, granted, we have a new tank game on the way, Armored, what is it called? Armored Warfare? Yeah. I haven't heard very much about it. When it comes out, I'll be playing it, but hopefully, I think someone asked a question about that. I guess I shouldn't say any more. Q&A answers to come before the new year, probably Christmas Day or the day after. Don't worry, if it doesn't come out Christmas Day, I'll say when in the Christmas Day video. So don't worry, you'll be kept up to date. But this was a super fun game. I've been playing a lot of arcade primarily because the simulator and realistic queues for me have been really long. Tons of people queuing as Americans, understandably. I mean, I'm one of them. And that just means that there's less people to play German, which means less teams. But I do like the fact that you can get mixed teams where it's like Germans and Americans versus Russians, or Russians and Americans versus Germans, or whatever. All these mixtures, which I think is cool. It sets up some like parallel historical fictions, which I think is cool. Hopefully when we see more and more tanks, and hopefully as the player population grows, we'll see more and more matches where it's like Americans versus Russians or Americans versus Germans, you know, things like that. But it was a really, really fun game, and holy cow, it's a lot of little metal things. I really like the Sherman. It's a great tank. And this was maybe, I think, yesterday. So I've unlocked the Sherman 105, and I'm going to be loading it up tonight and playing it a little bit. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I've been Corny Swiss, and I'll see you next time.